Hey guys, this is John. I'm in the 3-minute pool and I am playing Bube. I hope that doesn't get me in any trouble with my minor viewers. Let's play c5. Bube? I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Bubby. Let's go with Bubby. Mr. Bubby. Mr. Bubby is choosing a unusual setup with queen c2. I'm going to go for like a double fianchetto type of thing. His queen on c2 is very strange for this opening. I'm just playing this on sight, so if I don't play this perfectly, that's okay, because I'm not expecting to play it perfectly. It's probably, let's just go d6. Let's stay flexible. I don't think his setup is anything to write home about, so I'm just going to prepare like standard counterplay. Let's play queen c7. Queen b8 seems reasonable. I kind of want to hunt down his dark square bishop, but let's stay flexible and go e6. Can advance in the center. Can definitely do that. d5. Yeah, d5 seems good. I like d5. If he takes, I have a nice choice. He pushes instead. Why did I assume that move was not possible? Am I incorrect in that assumption? Alright, I call. I call your bet. I think this is a free pawn. Let's pre-move this. What do you got, Bubby? Because if I take, he might have assumed he had some discovery with this knight. But one problem he has is that his bishop's loose on g5 once he takes on e5. It's undefended. So, okay, so he does this, but can't I just...
Check.
We'll just take check and recapture here. Yeah, now dream position for black. Up a pawn. Great play. I can get my queen into f4. That's probably the next step. Do I want to play h5 first? Yeah, let's go h5 first. It seems strong. This is painful for him. Yeah, let's just bring this guy in. His knight is going to f1, so he's going to guard against the threats of, like, this is another pawn. The threat of mate on h2. But other than that, I mean, he's really struggling here. Let's just play b4. Oh, actually, I could have just played bishop e5. That would have been a prosaic conclusion. Yeah, bishop e5. I mean, b4 is still quite good. Okay, I got a second chance to play bishop e5. Expecting resignation. All right, so not a great game by white, but let's take a look. So he played the c3 Sicilian, which I believe outside of the open Sicilian is like the most popular line for white against the Sicilian. And I know Grandmaster Yevgeny Sveshnikov, who's a big believer in the c3 Sicilian for white. He claims that there's only two good moves against c3. He says that knight f6 or d5 are black's only two good moves here. And I'm inclined to agree with him. I don't think anything else can really fully equalize for black. But the good news is that knight f6 and d5 equalize fairly easily, I'd say. As far as theoretical challenges to the c3 Sicilian go, black is not really starved for options in those two lines. b6 is a line I've used to avoid a lot of theory in the past. I don't think it's that great of a line, but if white plays d4, which is what they usually play in this position, the point is black goes bishop b7. You do not take on d4 yet. Because if we take on d4 and then play bishop b7, white gets a chance to seamlessly put the knight on c3 and defend the e4 pawn. So the whole point of this system is playing bishop b7 when the pawn is still on c3 blocking white's knight. So trying to take advantage of that drawback. And then they had to figure out some way to defend e4. They can play bishop d3, they can play knight d2, They can play d5 and kind of take it to like a funky Benoni type of position. Black usually goes knight f6 and e6 and gains counterplay. So like just one illustrative variation here is if bishop d3, there's a line that goes knight f6, attacking this pawn, knight d2, and then take on d4, pawn takes, knight c6, attacking this pawn again, knight gf3. So far so normal, right? Now if black were to play some like standard move like e6, they're going to get a worse position. But black has the move knight b4 in this position. This move is key. Without this move, this whole concept for black would just be total garbage. But knight b4 attacks the bishop, and wherever the bishop goes, there's drawbacks. So if it goes to e2, he'll drop the e4 pawn. If he goes to b1, which is what most people play, what would be a strong move here for black? You can pause your video if you like. So black on move would want to play bishop a6 and prevent white from castling. And then there's the option of knight d3 check coming. You can look this position up in your database if you're really curious about it, but black scores well from here. So I've got that position in Blitz, and I haven't really tried this position in too many long-time control games, or this line in too many long-time control games, but b6 on move 2 is a really nice Blitz weapon to take white out of their comfort zone in the c3 Sicilian. So I like it. He played knight f3, which I don't think I've ever faced. I mean, I can't remember a game where white has not played d4 in this position. So putting the queen on c2, like I said, just looks a little weird to me. This whole development scheme was odd. Here I was debating whether to play d5 or d6. I settled on d6, staying flexible, because if d5, I wasn't sure about the consequences of e5. And then let's say knight f d7, d4, maybe taking the game into like a more closed type of position. I'm sure black's doing quite all right here, but I'd prefer to keep my options open. So just simple chess, just d6 and knight bd7. Rook c8 is played to perhaps hinder d4, and it's really good to have the rook x-raying the queen, even though there's a lot of traffic on the c-file. a6, preparing b5. Was able to do that with tempo. Yeah, nothing too fancy. Queen b8, I just want my rook to be the primary attacker on this file. Maybe queen a8 down the road will be useful. e6, giving me options of d5 later. I did advance it. So here he just made a pawn blunder with e5. Probably should take it. And then I hadn't made up my mind quite yet which way I was going to recapture. I think knight takes is probably the most normal capture. And then after take and take, I really like my position. I'm attacking f3. This pawn structure looks a little shaky. I've got pressure against c3. I think black's a bit better. Let's see what the engine says. Yeah, gives like a moderate edge to black. And as played, let's just confirm that we're not missing anything after e5. I think e5 just loses a pawn, though. Yeah. So he's just got a problem with his loose pieces. I don't know. Maybe he thought he could do something like this. It doesn't work for a couple reasons, but main one is that I can take with check in between move and then win his knight. So just a miscalculation by him.
Check.
And now I'm up a pawn. I have the bishop pair. His pawn structure in front of his king is decimated. This is fairly straightforward. Yeah, I mean, he blundered another pawn with this, but then I could have won on the spot with bishop e5, but I played b4. Like my slow plan was to go a5, bishop a6, maybe bishop b5, rook a8, and then a4, just to see if I could like win on the queen side. His pieces are so poorly placed, but this wins even faster, so he resigned. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed that one, and feel free to ask me any questions or leave me any feedback in the comments. Thanks, guys.